Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Glowing Stitches. If you are new to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever I post new videos. In today's video, I will show you how to craft these beautiful pants with stylish side pockets and a button shirt crop top. Now let's get started. You would be needing about 4 yards of fabric to be on a safer side. Fold accordingly and start marking out your measurements. Ensure that your fabric is well placed. At this point, I was trying to make sure that the patterns on the fabric align with each other. Now for the pants, measure the length of your trouser from your waistline downwards. Whatever you have, add your sewing in allowance 2 inches. After doing that, please bear in mind that we are going to add a waistband to this trouser, waistband of about 2 inches, because we want the trouser to be high enough to have a high waist to fit into the crop top. Now from your waistline, mark your hip point 9 inches. The next thing is to mark out your crotch point. And to get this point, divide your round hip measurement by 4, add 1 inch and mark it at this point. So my round hip is 46 divided by 4, 11.5. plus 1 inch, 12.5. That is what I marked at this point. Now let's move on to the width of our measurements. On your crotch point, divide your hip by 4, 11.5. Mark it. Then divide that 11.5 by 4 again to get your crotch extension. After dividing, I got approximately 3 inches, so I mark it out. Now to the hip point, divide your hip measurement by 4, 11.5 inches and mark it. Move to your waist measurement and transfer the 11.5 inches there also. After doing that, connect all the lines together like so and cross-check your measurements. Now let's move on to our thighs. Measure around your leg. Make it as free as possible because it's a kind of cargo pants or palazzo trouser. So I'll be making use of 32 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 16 inches because I want mine to be very full. Please note that measurements varies and you are dividing by 2 at this point, not by 4. Connect the lines and cut. That is just the front piece of your trouser. Now let's move to the back. Fold your fabric again. Place accordingly. Place that part which you just cut out on the folded fabric. While doing this, leave about 5 inches in front like so, because the back piece is usually wider than the front piece, and leave about 2 inches upwards also. Now let's mark from the top of the front piece. Mark upwards 2 inches like so, 2 inches above the front piece you placed on the folded fabric. Connect the lines. Now on the sides, by this point, mark 2 inches or 2.5 inches. For the sake of this tutorial, we'll be marking out 2.5 inches. Now connect the lines from the start of the front piece upwards towards the end of the 2 inches, and also move to the crotch point and extend it by 4 or 5 inches. Connect the lines. I hope we understand. Now let's move to the down part of our trouser. Extend the lines by 2 inches like so, and connect from the crotch point downwards towards the 2 inches you marked out below. After doing that carefully, you would have something like this. The trouser should be having this effect already. Please cross-check your measurements before cutting. Now let's cut. After cutting, separate both the front and the back piece like so. And after doing that, you would have 2 pieces of each, meaning you would have 4 in total. Now fold another piece like so to be able to cut these pockets down here. Measure about 9 inches for the length of the pocket and add 1 inch extra for your allowance. So we'll be measuring 10 inches in total by 14 inches. 10 by 14 inches. Cut and separate to have 2 pieces, one for the left and one for the right. We made the width of these 14 inches because we are going to give the pocket a little pleat like so. And after the pleating, your pocket should be in total 7 or 8 inches. Now fold another piece to be able to cut the top of the pocket, like the cover of the pocket. Cut about 8 inches like so. 8 inches by 3.5 inches. Mark that out carefully and cut. Cut facing for it, meaning you would have 4 pieces. Now let's move on to our waistband. Measure your round waist, bring out another piece of fabric, fold accordingly, and mark your measurements. So your waist measurements divided by 2 is what you mark here for the length, and the width of our band is 2 inches. So mark 5 inches, and after folding we would have back our 2 inches. So mark 5 inches at this point. You may decide to use rope for your waist, or you may decide to use elastic depending on what you want and what is more suitable for you. Now let's head to our machine. Start by joining the crotch area of both the front and the back panel like so. At this point, you are joining on half an inch. So this is the front panel and this is the back panel. You are joining the 2 fronts together and the 2 back together separately. Now take the front panel and let's mark out the pockets for the upper part of this trouser. And we are going to be doing this in its simplest form. Start by marking out the depth of the pocket. It should stop around the crotch area like so. So we'll be marking out 13 inches by 9 inches. 13 by 9 inches. Take out another piece of fabric and mark out that 13 by 9 inches. Mark 14 by 10 inches, and after folding you would have back your 13 by 9 inches. I hope we understand. Mark that out and cut, and this is what it should look like after cutting. Now let's head to our ironing table. Iron in ½ inch on all sides like so, leaving one side unfolded. Please just watch carefully and you would understand this illustration. This type of pocket is usually placed on top and is visible. Now from the folded side, top right, mark 5 inches, and from that 5 inches downwards towards the left, mark 8 inches. Fold that in and iron. Fold that in again and let it sum up to half an inch and iron carefully. So this is what it looks like after doing all that. This makes it easier while joining. Repeat the same process for the other pockets and you are good to go. Let me show you how it will be placed. Bring out the front panel. Place one on the left and one on the right like so. Take your chalk and draft out the lines like so that when sewing, you know when not to exceed your limit. Repeat the same process for the other pockets. Now let's head to our machine. You may decide to put that on the waistline. If you are using elastic all around the waistline, I don't think that is necessary. Now sew that point so that it doesn't unfold. Sew by half an inch and sew another half an inch next to it to give it a beautiful effect. Before joining your pockets to the front panel, make sure to pin down so that it doesn't shift or stress you while sewing. Trust me, when you iron before doing all this, pin down, it makes it much more easier while joining and sewing. Now this is what it looks like after joining. Repeat the same process for the other side and you would have something like this. Now let's work on the downside pockets. Iron accordingly for easy placement. Iron in half an inch on all sides, leaving the top unfolded like so. Now iron and fold into two like so to notch the middle point. To mark the middle point. After doing that, form a kissing plate to meet at the middle point. One on the left and one on the right. This pleat should be on 1 inch. Please don't get confused at this point. It is not difficult. Just watch and follow the step-by-step process. Just mark the middle point and fold on one side like this, iron it to stay firm, and fold on the other side like so. And when you flip over, you would have something like this. Easy does it, right? And when you place your cover, you would have this. Although I don't know if to call that a cover, whatever it is. Don't forget to hem the top of this pocket, that point. Fold half an inch and fold another half an inch like so. Moving forward to our waistband. You know we cut this out earlier, so iron your gum stay on it and you'd have this. Fold into two like so and iron smoothly. Fold in half an inch on one side of this band and iron smoothly. After ironing, you would have something like this. Now let's head to our machine. Join the sides of your trouser by 1 inch like so. Sew on a straight line by 1 inch downwards. Sew on both sides. After doing that, open up like so. Open up because we are going to attach the other down pocket to it. Now from the waistline, measure downwards about 20 inches downwards. That is where your pocket is going to start from. You can see what I mean by that. Please make sure the middle point matches each other. Before attaching it to your trouser, hem the mouth of your pocket like so. Now bring back your trouser and let's go back to the measurements we marked out. That's from the waistline downwards, mark 20 inches. That is where we'll place our pocket from. So open up that sewing line and place like so. Please make sure to pin down before you start sewing. This makes your work easier and faster. After doing that, move on to sewing. After doing that, move on to sewing the cover. Sew two together like so that you'd flip over and then you'd have something like this. After doing that, repeat the same process for the second one also. Iron carefully, and after placing, you'd have this effect. Now please watch carefully so that you'd understand how I placed the cover on top of the pocket. And if you wish to, you could decide to run a stitch on this part of the cover to give it another beautiful effect. Place the rough side like so and run a stitch on it. Please make sure the length aligns with the length of the pocket. After doing that, run a stitch on top of it like so. Be careful not to join it together with the pockets. I mean, be careful not to sew on the pocket so that you'll be able to open up like so. Run another stitch next to the first stitch you made to give it a beautiful effect. And after all these processes, you would have these beautiful pockets, beautiful side pockets. Please stay tuned for the part 2 of this video.